What's up, soldiers? Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you guys here in the kitchen with me. We're in the backyard. We're doing my mom's recipe. Well, my take of my mom's recipe for curry kingfish. I've got my kingfish cut up into about 1-inch steaks. And I've got the tail here. The tail is the prize. And here's about 2.5 pounds of kingfish. To that, it's time to season. We're going to go in with salt. And it may seem like a lot of salt, but remember we're making a nice thick gravy with that as well too. We need that Caribbean green seasoning. And if you're new to Caribbean cooking, Caribbean green seasoning is pretty much a puree or a blend of all the herbs along with garlic and seasoning peppers that we like using in all of our dishes, from meat to fish to vegetarian, to just about everybody getting a dose of that. And it's a very simple marination process. We're going to marinate this for about an hour. So that was black pepper. We got one more thing to go in there, and that is a tiny bit of curry powder. We're going to go over with the curry powder here, but later on we're going to add more. We're going to build on those flavors that we start off now with. All you're going to do is give that a stir. Be gentle because you don't want to break it up. And remember to wash your fish with the juice of a lime or a lemon or something. If all fails, got a little bit of white vinegar, drain it, and then we're going to season it up as we're doing here. One more thing. Yeah, one more thing. Why did I forget that? Two more things. Like Chris going to see now, boy. Boom. We need some onion in there. That onion flavor. Plus, how dare I? We got scotch bonnet pepper. It's got to be spicy. It's a curry after all. Season everything. If you want, you can take off the seeds and the white membrane around the seeds. That's where most of that heat lives. That's the address. That's the mailing address of that heat. So, you want to avoid that at all cost if spicy is not your thing. I can't believe I almost forgot those two ingredients, boy. Where's my head? Like Chelsea, windy arms. And I'll be honest with you. This is where you want to go in with your hands. It's so much easier to coat all those pieces of fish with that green seasoning and everything else that we added in there. Wear gloves if you need to, and if you just did your little manicure, you're going to get that on the nails. Lady, no, we want that. We ain't trying to stress all you out with no curry colored nails. So use the gloves. And you notice what Uncle Chris is doing here? I kind of massaging the pieces of fish with that green seasoning there, the little bit of curry powder. And we're kind of bruising the pieces of onions at the same time, because that is going to add a nice little flavor to things, yeah? And I notice the fish starting to fall apart because it's been thawed out for a while, so I'm just tucking that back where it came from. Set this aside, let it marinate for about 2 hours. An hour is perfect, 2 hours better. Does that even make sense? Anyhow, you know what I mean. We are outside now. I'm taking advantage of the beautiful weather we have here lately. Well, the last couple of days was cold. Today it's warm back up. I've got a cup and a half of all-purpose flour, and we've got the fish. And what we're going to do is sort of shake off the onions and pepper, but leave the green seasoning on there. And we're just going to dust it in that flour, like so. And we're going to fry these. And the reason why we're doing it like this, besides this being the traditional way I know it's been done, and I know my forefathers did it, what it does, that flour that we're dusting here will form a crust, which will help to soak up some of that curry sauce and goodness later when we make that sauce. Plus, that flour is also going to help thicken up the gravy, because the last thing you want is a thin gravy with your curry fish. I'm just going to continue doing that until all the pieces are all coated. And I do apologize for the noise. We're outside, people are cutting the grass, people are doing what people do on the weekend. I've got vegetable oil, and what we're going to do is we're going to quickly fry these, but we don't want to fry them until they're 100% cooked. We want to fry them until they're about 80% cooked. This way we'll finish cooking it in the curry sauce. And all I'm doing there is shaking off the extra flour. About 2.5 minutes on that side, so I'm just going to flip them over. They're already starting to take on a little bit of color. We're not too worried about the color at this point, but as I said, it will continue cooking in that curry sauce. So So all I'm doing is flipping them over, and we're gonna cook them on this side for a bit. It's been about 7 minutes in total. So now I'm gonna remove the fish pieces with a nice color on it. And we're gonna set these aside. I have a wire wrap here with some paper towels. Just gonna get rid of all of these here, and then we're gonna jump into actually making that nice curry gravy we're gonna dip these bad boys into. Switch pots on you guys now. So I have the pot that we'll be cooking the actual curry fish in, and all I'm doing is I'm taking some of the oil from the same pan that we fried the fish, because there's a ton of nice fish flavors in there. My heat is on medium, and here we have all that onion and pepper and green seasoning and everything that we marinated the fish in. That is going to be the base for this curry. In the same bowl, you want to put about 3/4 cups of water in here and swish it around to pick up all that remaining stuff. Just going to move this around. I'm going to turn my heat down to low because I don't want to burn any of this, and I'm going in with about 6 cloves of garlic that I smashed up. It's been going now for about 5 minutes, and you'll notice I have the pieces of garlic nice and big and chunky. If you wanted to crush that garlic, that's totally up to you. I just like when I'm eating that curry kingfish that those little nuggets of garlic is like pure joy for me. At this point is where we're going to actually go in with the curry powder, and use your favorite curry powder. I'm using my own blend here, and you need about 3 tablespoons in total of that curry powder. Now if you're doing this gluten-free, you can skip the flour step at the start there, or use a gluten-free like a cassava flour or a breadfruit flour or something if you wanted. And do check the label of the curry powder that you use, because sometimes they put flour as a thickener and a filler in a lot of these curry powders, so you got to be mindful of that. Yeah, we're gonna cook this here now for about 3 minutes, just to cook off the rawness out of that curry and to allow the spices which makes up the curry to bloom and give us all that nice flavor that we're hoping to achieve here. Got a nice crust on the bottom of the pot there. Here's where we're gonna go in with that water I was telling you about, that we switched around in the same pot here. Give that a stir, and that's going to sort of deglaze the bottom of the pot, and all that nice curry fond on the bottom is going to release. And I'm telling you right about now, the neighbors peeping over the fence, because you see this is pure niceness here. And according to my mom, this step here is critical. We've got some jeera powder, or what we call no, that was anchar masala, and this is ground roasted jeera or cumin, and that is the key ingredients in putting this curry together. And if you can't source that anchar masala, try those West Indian grocery stores. They usually have it. If you can't source it, double up on the ground roasted jeera or cumin. That is what we call it in the Caribbean. Now this step here is totally mine. I am going in with a large tomato all chopped up finely. That is going to help me get that nice thick gravy that I want. I want to cook this down a bit. Now we will add some more water because we got to put the fish in here. But what I want to do is allow this to cook and let all those flavors come together. And with that tomato, not only is it going to help thicken that gravy later on, I like balance, and the acid from that tomato is going to help balance everything up. I just went in there with just a tiny bit more salt, because remember, we were heavy when we seasoned the fish with salt, right? And in my humble opinion, this step here is one of the most critical. What I'm trying to do is burn off all of that water, and in doing so, it's going to help with that gravy later on, and it will help bring all of those flavors together. So I'm going to turn up my heat now and try to get back to the oil that we started off with. And now you're seeing the separation once I move the spoon around. And on the edges, I don't know if you guys can see, all of the edges, we got that oil that we started off with. Give that one more quick stir. And we got all that nice thickness happening there. That is compliments of that tomato that we added. Now we're going to go in with water, because we need water to sort of poach the fish in this curry sauce now. I'm going to bring this back up to a boil, and once it comes back up to a boil, that is 2 cups of water I went in there with. We're going to toss the pieces of fried fish in there, and that is where that curry niceness is going to happen. That fish is going to soak in all of that curry niceness, the flour and everything is going to pull everything in and release. It's pure niceness. Took a couple minutes, but it's back up to a boil now. And it may seem a bit runny at this point, but the whole idea now is to tuck those pieces of fish down inside here like so, and that's going to absorb some of that curry. We're going to have to flip them over in a second, but the point is we want a lot of gravy, and this is the trick here. Like I said, with that tomato and the flour on the fish, that's going to help give you that nice thick gravy. And you know, whether you're eating this with rice or roti or whatever it is your heart desire, you're going to have a best gravy, man. And you got to show mommy how to do it like this, eh? Tell her Uncle Chris's mommy said do it like this. Nobody ain't trying for long water gravy, you know. It's a nice little thick gravy coming up here soon. After a minute, and this is where you're gonna have to try and be gentle now, because this fish can fall apart on you. After a minute, we're gonna flip them over, because we want the underside to suck up some of that curry niceness in there as well too. And all we're going to do is allow this to cook for about another 5 minutes, just until we've got a nice thick gravy and the fish has soaked up all that flavor. It's been going now for about 7 minutes. I've flipped the pieces of fish over a couple times already, just to ensure that all that curry sauce gets into every nook and cranny here. I'm going to turn the heat off, but before I do, because I know that the residual heat is going to thicken up this gravy even further. If you are from the Caribbean, especially Trinidad and Tobago, you know shadow benny, aka culantro, aka bandana, is about to make an appearance. Now if you cannot source this, use cilantro. So culantro is what I just put in there, or shadow benny. If you cannot source that, use cilantro or coriander. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. My mom's traditional recipe. Yeah, her grandma and her grandma before that would make this. And let's recap what we did to keep this traditional. We seasoned the fish, we coated it in flour, fried it, set it aside, and we started off with that nice curry base. The only sort of step that I did, which is my take, was the chopped tomatoes that I put in there. Quick tip in regards to the tomato: if you wanted to, I would recommend peeling the tomato before you chop it up, because that skin is gonna, you know, it's a choking hazard. Let's be honest about it. But traditional curry kingfish, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys like this one here. I'm gonna have this with some roti. So, adios. And don't forget, remember that tip, eh? Big pieces of garlic. That there, that is a gem. Just waiting for Uncle Chris to come in and have some fun. It's been 25 minutes now, and I stirred it about 2 or 3 times already. I'm gonna give it a final little stir. Here's where you're gonna taste it for salt and adjust that salt. I like to finish it off with a little bit of tomato.